Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to Simulation. We are currently sitting down at Women in Tech International, and we are sitting down with Tamara Thompson. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
We really appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So we are going to talk about Serious Take Productions. You've been doing that for about 6.5 years now.
Yes, I started the company in about 2011, and it grew from there. It started more on I went to film school at the Seattle Art Institute and actually went into a corporate field after that, where I produced for corporate clients such as Microsoft and Starbucks, and then also for another corporate company where I came in where there were only 8 employees starting, and they're an online educational platform for physical therapists and chiropractors, where I came in and created a whole new vision for their brands for videos for their whole training system. And they're the #1 company in their league now in Seattle, and they have over 95 employees. But I helped create their vision to make their videos less boring, more creative, and shorter segments so that people stayed intrigued with their actual video content. But from there, when I was working those jobs, I was hustling to start my own business at the same time. So I was that entrepreneur, freelancer, whatever you call it from the beginning, and then just basically separated myself after that point and then just went full force entrepreneur into my own brand.
How did you know what exactly would be the best sort of content to make to inspire exactly what they needed at those companies?
So I won't go into my full deep backstory, but I have a very deep story myself, and I share this through different interviews as well as from stages of my why and why I started sharing inspiring, compelling content that was also creative. And so there's a point in my life where I just was really bored with things, and as a filmmaker, I'm now currently directing my 4th documentary film. Through the process, though, like, you wouldn't believe it, but I started off in YouTube. Well, let's backtrack. I started off at 7 years old. My dad bought me, not me, but the family, a camcorder, and I started filming silly videos, like jumping on the couch to, Glycerine by Bush and Oasis and all these different things, creating silly videos. And I always looked at it as a hobby. And later on in life, I decided that I was inspired by people in my family. They said, why don't you make it a career? And I said, for another 4 years, I said, no, it's just a hobby. It's just a hobby. Started a YouTube channel when YouTube came out in 2005. And I had over 800,000 views on my channel. And I ended up deleting it because at the time I thought, I don't want to be seen as a silly girl that was making Blair Witch 3 like mock-ups to like singing with her hairbrush, dancing around the bedroom, whatever it looked like at 25 years old. I was just singing, dancing. And I started watching documentary films, and I always correlated documentaries as being boring as a kid because the ones that they would show us in school like weren't always entertaining. They were just all factual, and the visuals weren't always compelling to me. And so I always had this thought in my head that these were boring. But then I started actually going to film festivals in my 20s, and I got really intrigued by them because I started seeing short films and documentaries that I was like, wow, these aren't boring.
I just want to stay with that childhood, jumping on the couch and videotaping that, and then having the hairbrush and videotaping that, because that's really important to foster in kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being able to do something, but my family being able to encourage me to know that I could create something as a career versus it being a hobby, because you want to be able to turn your passion to profit. And that's what I was able to do through Serious Take Productions. But the reasoning of why I called it Serious Take Productions was because after going through that YouTube experience, I wanted people to take me more seriously. And so that's where that came from.
It's too bad you shut it down. Did you rebirth it?
No. After the time frame of it, when you could bring it back, I couldn't. So it was sad. But I did extract some of the videos. I did keep some of them, and I do share them at events, and I get people to laugh because I'm like doing weird stuff, like singing on a flip phone to Numa Numa song, doing all this silly stuff, and it gets people to laugh. But it also shows a different side of me because I'm very witty and I like to have fun, and But I also like to have the serious side of me where I'm the professional on set. I love to direct. I love to oversee things. I love to bring other people's passion to profit for their brands. And that's why brand storytelling is really important to us through Serious Take Productions. And so that's kind of where that started. And it led out into different connections because I'm all about making meaningful connections with the right people to help build strong referral partners to, clients for life and to be able to impact more people more often. And so, yeah, I've just been really grateful for being able to build this business, and I still keep going strong.
I wonder what else are, let's stay with your story for a little bit longer, is there seem to be a lot of people now on YouTube that are totally eccentric and the most novel, trying to be, and that seems to be a style that is now accepted, totally accepted and okay. And I wonder how often kids go through the process of being normalized by culture and losing that sort of creative spirit. And I think do you think it's slowly increasing, like the amount of you can just be as novel and unique as you want to be, but there's still that pressure from culture as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually know quite a few entrepreneurial friends that actually encourage their preteens and teenagers to step out and create their own YouTube channels and become their own creatives at a young age. Yeah. But you also have to look at it in the sense that you can find so much different type of content online, and there's going to be other types of videos and crude content out there that I'd be like, I wouldn't want to show this to my kid or encourage them to create these things, or go out there and. I even know a friend of mine, we were just talking about this the other day, her brother created a channel just specifically to go out and do stupid things and get attention that way, and which is fine. But, at this point, YouTube is so oversaturated. The ones that didn't get in 10 years ago or something, it's a little bit harder to start and grow. I've seen people do it, they've grown 1 million over 18 months. But you have to be unique, but you have to be yourself at the same time. So, because if you start going out there and just trying to be like somebody else or trying to mimic somebody else that's like, oh, this big YouTube sensation is rocking it, I'm gonna do just what they do. But you're still you and they're still them. Yeah. So if you're not focusing on being you and be able to create content consistently, because these YouTubers, I have friends that make tens of thousands of dollars a month on YouTube, but they've also stated how it's starting to slow down for them because they're trying to pump out 3 to 5 videos. They have to create 3 to 5 videos a week to keep the consistency flowing, and even the cash payout now is a little bit different than it was 5 years ago. They're making millions, or whatever they're looking at. So it's very intriguing to me. So those that are really stepping into the YouTube space just need to think, how can I get creative? How can I step out more? And how can I inspire others to want to subscribe, share? So that's what we're doing through our channel. We're creating a whole new playlist for our Broadcast Your Authority brand, sub-brand under Serious Take, where we are able to help empower more women. So I'm interviewing women, but we're also creating the creative content that goes with that, because storytelling's key, creative visuals, be able to keep people's attention in 3 to 10 seconds and not losing them. You have to keep them on there. Is it text that's added to your video? Is it music that strikes emotion, which is key? If you don't have music somewhere in your video, if it's an interview based, that can be fine. But if you're showing other types of video, make sure there's music in there that strikes emotion, because that's very key. But being able to choose the right music for that moment in time for that type of video is important too. But people just need to think, I hate using the word think out of the box, but it's true. It's just not a big term for me, but
maybe we should stay on some of these concepts that you just laid out that you guys embody. So we have, in order to best storytell, there's usually the strong consideration for music, there's a strong consideration for emotion, a strong consideration for communicating the information in a way that's fun and engaging, inspirational.
Exactly. So we always tell our clients, it's all about the key messaging, because everybody has a story, but everyone has multiple stories to share. So what is that fine story that's going to be you, that's going to attract your ideal audience? So I can turn around and tell an example. I've been able to speak on stages about multiple types of content, right? So I won't go into deep diving into a story, but one story I will share deep dives and tells about how in December I will be 8 years sober. That's going to attract a certain type of individual and crowd that's going to come up to me and inspire, being like, wow, you know what? And they're going to open up to me and say, you know what? I have 2 years sober, or I've been struggling, or something. And that's going to bring that vibe because I'm inspiring people by that particular story. And then I can tell you, like, so here I am. And, you know, last year I spoke on stage with Marcus Lemonis from CNBC's The Prophet. People are like, wow, how did you get in touch with Marcus Lemonis? How did you get that opportunity? And I tell them it's about building relationships, being very persistent, and being able to think, how can I get their attention and how can I provide value to them before anything else? Because there's no reason why they need to know me, right? So that's one story. And then, you know, maybe it's another story about how I'm, you know, creating silly YouTube videos, you know, in my past, something fun and silly. And people would be like, yeah.
I think we really need to stay on that, providing other people with value. That is very lost in the me culture. And when we approach people and we offer them value right away, it shows that we are selfless and that we're doing it because we care about their goals, and that's why we're doing it. And then if they don't reciprocate, then usually we move on as well. But usually people do reciprocate, and then it builds a really good relationship in that sense where you're helping each other with your goals.
Well, and it's also something that can help on the side of like a business relationship when someone knows that you're genuinely wanting to help and you have the same mission. So like Marcus Lemonis, you know, people process product, you know, but people come first, right? And that's something that's very important to me, to be able to provide an experience for our clients or referrals or friends or partners, whoever it is. Like, it's all about the people and how we can provide them the best experience of knowing what they're going to go through an experience as well. And so finding those people that are in alignment with you, be able to give them as much value. I tend to give. My partner tends to say, stop giving so much, you know, but I always say, well, at this point, I just want to keep giving because it's going to reciprocate with the right people.
Yeah.
And I even had a Facebook message the other day. So when we were recording this female empowerment project, this gal wrote me a private message afterwards, and she said, I just want you to know, I was just talking to my husband about you. And she was like, and I just lit up because I thought to myself, you're one of the real ones. You're genuinely a good person. And she was like, because there's so many people in this entrepreneur space that are just takers. Yeah. And I've found those people as well. But you learn through experiences, and you have to let go of that. You know, can't hold grudges and things like that.
You know, when you finish a meeting with somebody and you have an action item list, and sometimes you'll have some action items and they'll have some action items. My goal is to always finish my action items before them.
I love it.
And then I message them and I'm like, here's a reminder for the action items. Here's an easy blurb about what we do so that you can make those connections easier. So you know, you nudge them and you give them the yeah. And it's always interesting to see who can reciprocate how quickly. And usually it ends up really leading to powerful connections between people that didn't know each other in the past.
Yeah, I've been able to build some really strong relationships with people through social media that I'd never met, obviously. I mean, that's the power of social media, being able to create these relationships with people and then finally meet them in person a year, 2 years later. Maybe they live in Australia, and then you're all of a sudden speaking at their event or, you know, doing something with them or for them and their purpose. And it's just intriguing to me that we're able to do that, because 10 years ago, we couldn't really do much of that. We were just starting to learn, and, you know, first it was MySpace, and then it was Facebook, and then, you know, YouTube, and so these platforms are growing, and now like LinkedIn, you know, there's different ways to utilize each platform the right way to help build your brand and business.
Now, when it comes to highlighting women that are entrepreneurs, is there a certain way of doing that that catalyzes a stronger efficiency with doing so?
So yeah, so we work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, speakers, storytellers, and it's been very intriguing because they're all passionate about doing something of a higher purpose for themselves that are going to help other people, and those are the people that we drive, and those are the people that we empower. And so it's been really intriguing because you have, I don't call it. I've been able to connect with the ones that I call mission-driven, and then the people that come into my life that are money-driven. My mission is to have passion to profit, because not everyone can see how they can do that. But I start to align with more of the women that really are strong in alignment with their mission. Obviously, their end goal is to make money through this process, but they'll do anything they can do at that moment to make sure that they can get to that point that they want to be. Because there's a lot of greedy people out there as well. And so it's just like you have to find your tribe, you know, who you can connect with. And so it's been really interesting working. So I'd say like 98% of the people that we work with, I know, like, and trust. And then there's the 2% that have come through that, of course, we can't connect with everybody. And it's just not going to be in alignment. So there's been stressful situations where you just have to make that decision to let go of that, even if it means a large chunk of money. Like, I've had people that have held on to clients, but they don't enjoy working with them. And if you don't enjoy working with them, it can put a emotional stress on yourself. And then you can start seeing that, and then your overall health can start deteriorating. And that has happened in the past. But working with women has been really inspiring for me, because we work with male and females. But as we started this movement to help women broadcast their authority more through the media, videos, live streaming, YouTube, and from the stage, it's just cool to see more women come together, because there's all these statistics out there of, you know, like, I can't recall all the exact statistics, but the side of like only a certain amount, like a very small amount of women entrepreneurs hitting their first 6 figures in their business, to, you know, what is it, only 5% hit like 7 figures or whatever it is. And the entrepreneur space is very male dominated, you know, and I want to be able to help more women. We need men in our lives to help us grow. There's mentors, friends that I know, like, and trust, and I speak on their stages. And but there's just, I want to give more opportunities. Women also need to mentor
men as well, because men need a significant overhaul in their ability to feel and have control their emotions as well at times. Get away from logic and focus on love sometimes, you know, these types of things.
Well,
and
it comes
like you
in
said,
business too.
Yeah.
Well, and even in video. So like with us being a female-owned video production company, you know, it does have the pros for some of the women sometimes. And I'm not saying that men don't see certain things, but there will be, you know, like a situation like fixing the angle of a camera, or, you know, something like the lighting might be different, or making sure that the shadows on somebody's face are double chin, or, you know, anything that can make, or asking a woman, like, do you have a good side? I said, I'd tell you this is my good side. I would have chosen this chair anyways.
Yeah.
So things like that people don't really think about, because they're like, this looks good, but you need to make sure that the female that's in that chair, if you're videotaping them, is in alignment with how your thoughts are, and always ask their opinion. That's what we've been able to produce videos from, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, I like this. You like this? Sometimes you don't want to like do that, because then you give them like the option to open. But I think it's important, because if they come back with a product and they're like, I look fat, or I don't like that, at least you've given them the opportunity to see it.
Yeah. There's also the fuck it, ship it mentality as well. So, because the idea of opening up the door to an hour of shifting around and trying to do things right, but at the same time, like you said, is so important to actually have content that the person aligns themselves with. So to ask, and that's an aspect of emotional intelligence, to get somebody in a comfortable state.
Or you have a perfectionist on set sometimes.
Sometimes perfectionists can be very annoying as well, because it's like, let's get the content out there. So you mentioned this, and I think this is so crucial. the amount of women that are in positions of executive ownership or entrepreneurship inside of companies, especially of higher level companies or even their own companies, is low right now, and we would like it to be higher. There's so much beautiful intelligence and also ideas that can be formulated through women into the world, and organizations like WITI really help us get there. Production studios like yours help us get there. Now, there also seems to be this like very interesting tendency for women to really want to focus on their family, and also for men to just like want to sacrifice whatever's going on in their life to try and like climb up this race in order to try and become more wanted. And so it's just this like very strange cultural system. What do you think about that cultural system? How can it get a little shift and swift kick in the butt in order to, to change things up a bit?
Well, it really depends on the family and the system and what's going on there. So you have your stay-at-home moms, you have your mompreneurs, you have your women in corporate, you have your stay-at-home dads now, which I know quite a few. Where it's been this kind of shift over the past like decade of like what the roles are in a household. I think when men and women are in relationships or marriage or have kids, like you want to support the other person and always ask like, what is it that they're passionate about that they want to do as well? So you can support either way, so that the male doesn't feel like they have to climb this ladder, themselves. Or if there's a mom that wants to be a mompreneur and help build a business from online at home to help support the family as well, and not just be a stay-at-home mom and solely depend on the male. There's so many different ways to think about that, to be honest. So
I'm glad you're unpacking it with that amount of nuance, because that is what it is. It's our social fabric. It's the human experiment, and it has all that nuance. And I think it's crucial to talk about it, because I think we can, by unpacking
people to be happy too, because I think people get lost in like growing old together, and then they forget what their values are, or just why they married in the first place, and then all of a sudden 10 years pass, and then all of a sudden you're not having a conversation about why you're doing what you're doing. Are you passionate about it? When now they're saying 85% of the workforce is disengaged or doesn't like their job. I'm like, if you don't like your job, find something else that you're more passionate about. At least try something else. I know it takes time. It's not like, it doesn't always happen overnight for everybody, because it's very competitive out there. But I always say, like, just because I have been able to build a successful brand, starting off working full-time for a corporate company and start my own business on the side where I was working 60 to 80 hours, like that hustle stage starts with entrepreneurs first. And if you have that, then you want to lead and shift into now, you're hustling, you're like, okay, now when is the time? It's never a right time to let go of the corporate job, but if that's what you're really trying to do, like figure out a way. If you're the type of person that needs stability, then you're packing away, cash in the bank for a while before you let go. Or if you're someone like me, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to have faith and trust that I can build and grow this and have the support of my partner and other people around me. Because I'm the type of person that will be like, okay, my back's up against the wall. Now what? I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to keep figuring things out. And that's kind of just how my mentality is. But not everyone's like that, because I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs that even were in mastermind groups with myself, where it's almost this picture perfect life that everyone's like, yeah, we're doing this thing. And then people may not be truthful with themselves or other people, because you need the support of other people to help keep you strong through the hardships of entrepreneurship as well. And then all of a sudden I hear that, Joe or Bob or Sue is all of a sudden back in corporate, but maybe not necessarily because they wanted to, but because they wanted the stability, coming in. So there's so much to do with entrepreneurship. Sorry, I go off on tangents.
Well, you're explaining all of these different ways that entrepreneurship manifests itself throughout the social fabric that we have, and the unpacking the nuance of the roles that we have as we grow up, from a kid that's bouncing around on the bed and couch and doing the the hair comb, singing, and yeah,
it's totally to 80s music. Stop the world and melt with you.
Yes, exactly. So
best song ever.
So we have everything from that, fostering that as kids, and having a community and family that helps us foster that, all the way to when
I was totally 25 years old when I was doing that part.
Yeah.
The hairbrush thing.
Retaining the childhood through adulthood, and then also when we do get to a later stage in life where when we're just graduating high school, or when we're getting out of college, or when we've entered the workforce and we're finding out about ourselves and the way we engage with people.
I think a lot of people are still finding out themselves. Like, I don't know your opinion on this, but I think that we are so young going in from high school to college. It's just kind of this thing, like this American way that, like, that's what, when I grew up, that was kind of what was seen. Like, where are you going to school? Like, what's your four-year university? And I decided not to. I decided to actually go to community college, where I loved basketball. And my dream at that time was playing the WNBA. And so I played basketball in college and got a scholarship that way and went to a community college. And then from there, I didn't know where I wanted to go then, because I was a creative. So I started doing stuff in graphic design. And then I switched over to like early childhood education. I didn't ever find what I wanted to do, but I was always on the side making silly videos. Mm-hmm. Later on realizing I should probably do that.
And it's so important to actually have all the different opportunities that both a man, a woman, a person of color, anywhere around the world that you're being born, no matter what socioeconomic status, to have opportunity to be able to pick up a computer and learn how to design or code, to be able to pick up anything and put your hands on it and start working with it and get an experiential learning from that. So as we build out this world around us, what are these are a couple of questions we typically ask on our show, is what would you say are some of these important principles that we add into the society that we have now, of how do we maybe do things like maximize the potential of everyone that is birthed into the world?
Well, it's different for everyone. So I would say basically, I literally just tell everyone, if there's something that you're really passionate about, like, if you think that you can't turn it into a career, think again, because there's always new ways to think. And with the online world and online marketing in different ways, you can create products out of things, and people don't even think about that. Like, there's a lot of people that haven't been introduced to the entrepreneurial space yet, or YouTube or Facebook marketing or anything that they really think about. So people are constantly looking at Facebook stories, Instagram stories, and but I just always encourage people to, if they really want to create something themselves, start, but also look into finding out or following someone. Subscribe to a YouTube channel that you can learn from somebody, or when you get to a point, hire your first mentor or business coach or life coach or whatever you need, marketing coach. But I just really encourage people to do that, because it's just, we can't just go on living life like feeling, empty, basically. So.
Oh man, that was real. That end point, that really hit me strong. Feeling empty, because that is what sometimes we feel when we don't have a family or a community or a passion that's actualized within us, and sometimes we don't realize that we're empty. Oh man, so yeah, turning passion into profit, that was a really interesting, I like that a lot. So let's ask you a couple more of these questions on the way out. These are some fun questions. What do you think is the most beautiful thing in the world?
Traveling.
Why?
Because once I started traveling, I was able to see so much more out there than what I've been grown up with only in the U.S. So last year I traveled to Santorini, I traveled to Athens, Greece, I traveled to Rome, I traveled to Ireland, and I also traveled to Iceland last year. But being able to go out there and as well as record video content, pull out my selfie drone, flying it over, icebergs, to, oceans to the cliffs of Moher. Like, I was able to see things in person, and like you see things in videos all the time, and that's what we're really good at, like visual storytelling, but be able to see, other cultures out there and just know that there's so much more to the world out there that people need to see, and it just encourages me to travel more. So now I'm going to be going to Scotland, and I love seeing castles and all the fun stuff, and I'll go see like Loch Ness and all these things, like these fairy tales and fables and things like that. But being able to see things like that come to life, because I watch other people just live through their lives, and all they do is get up and they go to their job and they come home, and then they have their meal with their family, and they spend time with their kids, and then it's like they watch their favorite show, and then it's bedtime stories, and then they just continuously do this, and there's so much more to life out there to be able to see. And I know it's hard for people because they have families, they have kids, and there are budgets, but I just encourage anyone out there to just travel at least once. Find something that you think is beautiful, put it on your vision board, and go after it. Like, say, I'm going to go to Hawaii. Even if it's Hawaii, it doesn't have to be out of the country. It's a beautiful space, other than the volcanoes going off right now. But you know what I mean? Like, I set a goal to something, and I'm like, I'm going to do that, and I do it. But sometimes it takes a little longer to get there, but go off the off-beaten road. But
I imagined people putting up where they want to travel to up on their vision board when you said that, and then
I do.
Seeing it. Yeah,
I still create vision boards, and I recreate them every 6 months because I've passed those goals again. Like, it's so crazy how your mindset and being able to visualize something, people don't understand that the energy is out there. You set the intention and the energy out there, and it's crazy what life can bring you. Like, I'm just in awe.
Yeah, the intention and the energy, and it helps with the manifestation. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And there's so many things outside of the three-dimensional reality that we live in that we don't understand jack shit about.
Well, and then you can go into VR, and we can go places, but I do, like, in person, like, being able to feel that experience, energy, smell that ocean of somewhere else. Like I'm on my list of places to go. So in November, I'm going to Lisbon, but I'm setting it on this goal to be able to go stop over in Croatia, because I'm like a big fan of Game of Thrones, so I want to go like check out like these like spaces. I'm like, this was on TV, I want to go see this is beautiful, I'm gonna make it happen. So stuff like that. But I just encourage people, like, just put something to your mind and just go after it.
Do you think we're alone in the cosmos?
No.
Expand on that for us.
Well, like, I definitely believe in higher beings, and I also believe in there's so much more to the world and the galaxies out there. Like, honestly, think of this. So there's planet Earth, and there's all these other planets and galaxies out there, and how could we be alone? Like, really, how could we be alone? We can all believe what we want to believe. But I've had experiences in my faith. I've had experiences, my mom's had experiences with UFOs. That's another story.
Can you give us one?
Yeah, so this is intriguing. So my mom sticks to her guns with it, and so does my late grandmother and one of her best friends. So my mom was in her early 20s, and her friend Charlie and her were driving between Nevada and Mount Shasta, and it was late at night, and they said they hadn't been drinking, they weren't intoxicated or on any form of drugs or anything like that. And I was like, okay, Mom. But she's so set, she's very stubborn, and she's very much, when she sees something, it's there. And so I'm like, okay, if you say that's what you saw, that's what you saw. So she's been telling this for years, but they were driving back through that area. There was no cars, no lights, nothing. And then they turn around and they said that they both have told the same story, and I don't see why they would lie together. But they saw a light, an object that was just hovering above the road that was in front of them. And it was just there, just hovering. Circular ship, as you would say, or object. And so all of a sudden they're driving, and then they look in front of them, and then there's a man just walking down the street in the middle of the road, only wearing a t-shirt and pants. No shoes, no socks, nothing. And they said he just looked completely out of it. And they decided to just drive right by him. They were so frightened that they were like, we're not going to stop. Then they looked up, and then the object was gone. And they looked in the back of the mirror, and they didn't see the man walking on the road.
I had a lot of goosebumps when you were saying that.
Well, you should hear my mom say it. I'm like, oh my goodness. But the similar situation happened supposedly with her and her mom driving through the same area when they took a trip when she was a teenager, when she was younger. So, but I was like,
a similar experience happened to your mom.
Her and her
mom.
Yeah, and so they both. My grandmother's not here to vouch for it now, but I know that story had been passed along. So it was very interesting to me, and I know I've seen things on tabloids and things happen to people, but I definitely believe there's other forces and beings out there. I just really don't feel like we're alone.
And the way that they could be manipulating, pulling the strings of what's going on is so interesting.
You never know. You
never
really don't know.
Well, maybe we will one day figure it out. So do you think we're in a computer simulation?
Do I? We should be. If we're not. No.
You think it's based reality?
Yeah. Are you throwing me off?
No. I really enjoyed as we got into flow. It felt really good talking about you and talking about what you care about and why you care about it.
I feel like I don't know anything about you. I have to do my research now.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely message you the content, the link when it's ready. And we love bringing on different leaders across the world, and we love asking them about what future they're building, but also these maybe tougher questions about what we do about maximizing human potential, what do we do about globalization, about wealth inequality, about artificial general intelligence, about all these different crazy things that are going on in our future. And how do we make sure that kids that are being born into the world today and tomorrow, that they get to be actualized?
Well, it's very intriguing, though, because the way that I was raised, I was, in high school, it was dial-up AOL, and then now we have high-speed internet, phone access, all these things, and so it's just very different for me. And then the way that kids are growing up now, I do think that it's a little bit more interesting because we used to have to pick up a phone to call and actually have conversations with people, and now everyone's so technology-based and they don't communicate. Here we have all these emojis and everything else in the world. And so it's just different, but I think that as people grow into these different generations, like with technology and other things, like it's just going to kind of mold with how it's supposed to be. So
mold into how it's supposed to be, yeah.
Or how,
yeah.
I mean, we're the ones inevitably that are making our own lives, living our own lives to the fullest, and taking advantage of, learning technology or sharing video content or creating our own shows or traveling or whatever that looks like. But people can sit there and be inspired and watch video content from us and then never take action.
We always tell people at the end of the show to create with this content afterward. We always recommend that.
That's good. That's one of my big things. Take action.
Take action. I feel as though a little bit more conversation about ethics and about philosophy are really important as we go into this integration with technology in our future. So what a blast it's been talking. Thanks for coming on the show, Tamara.
Thank you for having me.
This has been so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and we'll catch you soon. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you.
If you guys had a good time, make sure to give us a comment below with your thoughts. Give us a subscribe, give us a like. Also, consider building with this. Go do it. Go make something with this. Go write about it, make a video about it. Go and interview someone about it. Importance of storytelling, importance of emotion, importance of music as you portray storytelling and get people excited about content in the world. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you soon.